All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. It has been about 2-ish weeks since All-Star Weekend ended and the second half of the season began, and I want to talk about some of the best and worst teams that we've seen so far in this little stretch after All-Star break. Who's coming out hot? Who's coming out stumbling? We'll talk about it all here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer as the days go on. So every subscription, every like, every notification will be really, really appreciated. Link to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the first team we're going to talk about is the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers, the best record in the league so far. They've come out since post All-Star break, and they're 8-0, the only team that has not lost a game since coming back from All-Star weekend, particularly the last couple games. You know, the first couple games, they beat the Nets, destroyed the Knicks, got in a close game with the Grizzlies, they won, blew out the Magic, but their last 4 games recently have been very interesting. You know, they had that game against the Celtics in Boston where they were down 25-3 to start. They come all the way back thanks to Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and they win that game, you know, in Boston. Then the next couple days later against the Blazers without Donovan Mitchell, they get down 20 at one point, find a way to come back with DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome, force overtime, eventually end up winning that game. Then against the Bulls, they got off to a kind of a slow start. First 3 quarters are kind of add. The last 7 minutes of the game, they just exploded and they ended up winning by 22. And then last night they played against Miami on ESPN. Kind of were got off to a good start. Then the second and third quarter was kind of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But they eventually hold on and end up winning that game. So the last couple games, they have been coming back from deficits, and they've been playing in closer games, and they've been winning that. For the first probably a couple months of the season, they just kind of been running through teams. You know what I mean? Like every win has been by 20 something points, 30 points, 40 points even sometimes. You know, it's just kind of been like they're running through everybody. The last couple games have shown that they have that fight and that intensity. You know, that Boston game was just huge emotionally. I mean, being down 25-3 in Boston, Celtics look really motivated. They could have just been like, you know what? We're good. They got this one. You know, but they found a way to come back, keep it together, and end up winning that game. And then against Portland, again, where you don't have your star player, you know, Portland's been one of the hottest teams. You could just be like, you know what? They got this one. Nope. They find a way to fight back in it, keep it close, hit some big shots, force overtime, and eventually end up winning that game. Same against the Bulls, same against Miami. It's just been a big fight, you know, that they've had. And it's been very good. You know, Donovan Mitchell's had some big games. Garland is still doing his thing. So is Mobley. DeAndre Hunter has been just a valuable piece to this team. He's already shown why he's going to be so valuable for the playoffs and why the Cavs look. I mean, that was an amazing move for the Cavs. I mean, he's shooting 50% from the field, 52% from three, averaging 15 points per game so far as a Cavalier. He had that big game against Portland when he dropped 32 points without Donovan Mitchell. He's been big. Ty Jerome has just been on another level. He's shooting dang near 50, 40, 90 this year coming off the bench. The defense has been pretty solid. You know, they're getting healthy now. You know, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade are back and playing. So, yeah, it's just been, everything's been clicking for the Cavaliers. And they're really on a hot streak. I mean, 52-10, probably going to end with 65 plus wins on the season and really coming out post All-Star break where a team in their position maybe could kind of just be like, you know what? We're going to finish number 1 seed in the East. You know, we're good. We can sit, you know, we can kind of be whatever. No, they're coming out and, you know, still on it and on point. So they have been just amazing to watch. Next team we're going to talk about is the Philadelphia 76ers, kind of going on the opposite end. The Sixers are 1-6, so coming back from All-Star weekend. The second worst record in that span, only better than the Charlotte Hornets, who are 1-8, but the Hornets are its own separate thing. But the 76ers, we know it's been a very rough season. You know, I've talked about them a lot. You know, every time there's a chance talking about them, I feel like I've been talking about them. But yeah, now we learned that Joel Embiid is going to be out for the rest of the season, and there's different type of, you know, procedures and medical things that he might have to go through that is going to take a long time for him to come back. There's a report, I think, the other day saying that Paul George might be very soon being shut down. Tyrese Maxey's missed a game or two here or there. They did snap their 9-game losing streak to beat the Warriors thanks to Quentin Grimes dropping 44. But it's just been, you know, kind of them embracing the tank is what it looks like. You know, you see guys out like Jeff Dowtin is getting a lot more minutes. You know, they signed Lonnie Walker. They just signed Jalen Hood-Schifino. You know, not Pete Nance. He plays for the Bucks. Alex Reese was getting minutes in their recent game. So, yeah, I guess just kind of shun the season down. right now, which is the right thing to do. At this point, there's no point in going for a playing spot when even when they were trying, they couldn't make the playing spot anyway. And now without Joel, just shut down Paul George and let's just go try to get this top 6 protected pick right now. But it's been pretty tough to watch the Sixers team, even when they are fully healthy. It's just been very tough to watch. I mean, look at their recent games since coming back from All Star break. Lost by 20 to the Celtics, lost on a game winner to the Nets, lost by 32 to the Bulls, lost to the Knicks, and they beat the Warriors, and they lost by 17 to Portland. And then their last game, they lost by 14 on the other night to Minnesota. It's just been bad. It's been bad to watch. It's been just disjointed, disconnected, a tough team to really watch. And with all this injury problems and all that stuff, I'm gonna talk more about that near the end of the season when I do my look-in series. But the future looks kind of not great either for the 76ers. So yeah, it's just at this point, let's just embrace the tank. Get to see a lot of these other young guys go out and try to make a name for themselves, try to get a contract for next season. We'll see, but yeah, it's not been fun. Next team is the Lakers. The Lakers have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They're 7-1 since coming back from All-Star weekend. Only lost that first game to the Hornets, and since then they're on a 7-game win streak. They've won 13 of their last 15 games, and overall 19 of their last 23 games, going back all the way to January. They've been playing at an elite level. Recently over this stretch, the 7-game stretch, trying to add Luka Doncic into the mix. And so far he's been solid. He hasn't had the most amazing scoring nights, but the last 2 games against the Clippers and the Pelicans, he's hit some big shots and having some moments. So he's looking like more and more, in tune. Beat in this 7-game win streak, they beat the Blazers. Big win against Denver on national TV, beat the Mavericks, Minnesota, back-to-back wins over the Clippers. In the last game, they beat the Pelicans. That's where LeBron dropped 50,000. But the Lakers have just been so impressive, honestly. Like, when you have 2 offensive superpowers like LeBron James and Luka Doncic, obviously you're going to score a lot of points. And those 2 have been really good. Even LeBron, over this little stretch, has been just redefining, like longevity and all that stuff of being 40 years old. He's been just on another level on the offensive end. They're getting guys to really buy in and hit big shots. Jackson Hayes, especially in that Pelicans game, looked really good. He right now probably has the easiest job in the NBA right now, Jackson Hayes. But it's been their defense. Their defense, like over the 7-game win streak, they've only allowed over 102 points once, and that was the Pelican game. These games are allowing 102, 100, 99, 102, 102, 102, and then that 115 against the Pelicans. But their defense has been super impressive, which is very interesting because, again, they don't have a real traditional, amazing rim protecting center. Jackson Hayes has always been a decent little backup, but he's never been a amazing rim protecting type of center. And then the Mark Williams trade fell through, that would have helped them out a little bit. But they just been playing really like connective defense, a really energetic defense. That's the word. Like, they're just energetic. They're active. Like, it feels like they know, okay, we don't have a Rudy Gobert down there that's going to get you 4 or 5 blocks. He's not going to man down the paint. So we just got to be pests on the perimeter. That's what we got to do. We just got to be pests on the perimeter. Everybody's active. Everybody's mobile. That's the one good thing about Jackson Hayes, that he is an athletic center. So everybody's moving around. Everybody's, covering their man. Everybody's, kind of active, trying, and just getting hands everywhere, getting out in transition, running, getting easy buckets like that. Like, the defense has been super impressive. And that's really what's been driving this win streak, really, is the defense. Because the offense has been, again, fine when you have LeBron and Luka, but it hasn't been overpowered. It's not like they're giving you 135 points, 145 points. It's really been their defense that has just been super locked in and active and really driving this win streak. I'm going to do a whole video about the Lakers eventually at one point because it's been super impressive to me what they've been doing. But they look really nice right now, man. I mean, obviously, we got to get a larger sample size, and this March is going to be a big month, to show what they really are. But right now, this team is not one you want to mess with. Next team we're going to is the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies are 2-6 since coming back from All-Star weekend. Some really, really unfortunate losses. They're currently on a 4-game win streak. They've been kind of, falling a little bit. They were comfortably around the second, third spot. Now they dropped to 4 over this little streak. They did get really unlucky, though. I mean, they did lose to Indiana to come back. Then they beat Orlando, lost to Cleveland, had a big win against Phoenix in overtime where John Morant had a great game. But then they went, 3 of their last 4 losses, excluding the loss last night to OKC, were on game winners. Just really unlucky. Against the Knicks, OG Anunoby hits a big 3-pointer, and John Morant missed a layup on the other end to lose. Next day, De'Aaron Fox hits a step-back mid-range jumper for game. And then the next game against Atlanta, Dyson Daniels rips up Desmond Bane. They find Caris LeVert. He gets a buzzer-beater layup. So 3 losses in a row on the last second is just really unlucky and really deflating. Then you come in last night against OKC without Jaren Jackson. They lose to the Thunder because who doesn't lose to the Thunder? But it's been kind of rough for them. Jaren Jackson's gonna miss a little bit of time, which is not gonna help at all. The depth hasn't been as super amazing as you should see it. I'm not really too worried about it though. They're eventually gonna find their shots, but it hasn't been as amazing. And Ja Morant hasn't really been the superstar Ja Morant they're accustomed to seeing. He did have that game against Phoenix, we went off, and also the Orlando game that they won, in this little stretch. Ja Morant had a really, really good fourth quarter. But overall, Ja just hasn't really been. I just feel like I've been waiting for him to pop, waiting for him to have a big game, have a 30 point, 12 assists, like that type of game where it's like, I'm here. I just really feel like I haven't gotten that. I mean, again, he's had 2 games. Their 2 wins since coming back from All-Star Weekend have been, he's had good late game performances, and in the fourth quarter, he's been showing up, which has been a good thing. And even last night, he had some big shots in the fourth quarter. But overall, I just haven't really gotten to see Ja Morant be Ja Morant. That we're used to seeing that him 2 years ago where he was, a super ascending superstar, for the Grizzlies. He just hasn't really been like that. And I would like to see a lot more of that. Desmond Bane has gotten better. He had that 30-point triple-double against Atlanta. He's been starting to hit more shots. But without Jaren Jackson, Ja's going to really have to step up. I mean, he's going to have to really step up and have some big performances. Fortunately, the next couple games are going to be easier. They play Dallas, New Orleans, Phoenix, Utah. They're going to have a couple games where hopefully he can kind of step up and be like, all right, time to get my groove back and have some big performances, which is what I'm hoping to see. But yeah, they just haven't been as great. Again, a lot of these are unfortunate losses that if a ball or two bounces their way, we're looking at them differently. We're looking at them at 4-2, or 4-4 instead of 2-6, So it hasn't been super, deflating. I mean, it has been deflating. It hasn't been like super like, oh no, I'm scared for this team. But it's just been like, ah, dang, lost a couple close games. Next thing I want to talk about is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks have quietly been very, very good over the last couple weeks. They are 7-1 since coming back from All-Star Weekend. And overall, they've won 10 of their last 13 games since early February. They've really been starting to get things together, especially since after All-Star break in, they won 7-1, only lost to Houston, where only by 3. If Brook Lopez doesn't take that crazy shot, maybe, and a ball bounces their way or two, they might be on a 9-game win streak right now. But they have been very, very good as of recently. Haven't had, again, the craziest of schedules, but still, wins are wins. And the Bucks have been doing their thing. I've liked the trade acquisitions looking really good right now. They traded for Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. at the trade deadline. It was very kind of like questionable, kind of like, okay, why are we, more for money reasons, but also like, okay, how much is this really going to help? And while those two, if you look at just box score wise and box score and numbers, it's going to be like, okay, like they're not shooting the ball super well. They're not giving you 27 points per game. Like they're not doing anything super outstanding if you just look at the numbers. But if you watch them on the court, I really like what Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. have been bringing to this team. Just being two guys that can do something with the ball that doesn't include Dame or Giannis. Kyle Kuzma can be either a catch-and-shoot guy, but he can also go get a bucket. Kevin Porter Jr. has been so good. He had a great game last night. I think he had a triple-double last night. Or against Atlanta. One of these games, he had a triple-double. Because he just can come off the bench and he can just have the ball in his hands and he can create for himself, create for others. And just having more guys that can do something with the ball on this team besides Dame or Giannis, where it's not Dame and Giannis doing pick and roll and them doing literally everything and the other three just kind of standing around waiting for their turn. Now you have Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., two guys that, be like, all right, well, I can do. Kyle Kuzma's like, I can go get 20. Kevin Porter Jr. can have a game where he has 15 points and a couple of assists off the bench. So those two have just been really good. And it's been a whole team. Like, last game against Dallas, the last couple games, they've been scoring a lot of points. I mean, these last 4 games, they scored at least 121 points in all these games. And in 5 of their last 6, they scored over 120 points. It's just been togetherness. Damian Lillard has been really finding his grooves coming back from All-Star Weekend. Giannis is doing Giannis things. Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. have been really helping. AJ Green, Taurean Prince, Brook Lopez, guys are hitting their shots. And just everything is clicking for Milwaukee, even in the defensive end. The defensive end looks very solid. It's not elite, and I don't think it will be elite, but it's been a lot better. And Kyle Kuzma's been really good on that end as well. So the Bucks just look, they're looking better and better as the season's progressed. I've really liked watching them. over the past couple games, and I'm really liking the fit now with adding those two into the mix. And they're still a team that you have to kind of at least be a little worried about, just strictly because they have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who most likely will be a best player in a series 9 times out of 10. So if you have the best player, you have a shot, which I say. But like if Dame gets going and these guys really start to really mesh together and have a really good month of March, this is definitely a team you can't just overlook in the Eastern Conference. Next team we're talking about is the LA Clippers. The Clippers are 2-6 since coming back from All Star Weekend. They've had some pretty tough losses. Lost to Milwaukee, lost to Indiana, Detroit. Then they lost back-to-back games to the Lakers. Then had that game on Tuesday where they're up 20 and the Suns come back and they blow that lead. They did win last night to Detroit thanks to James Harden dropping 50. But it's been a little rough for the Clippers. They've been stumbling a little bit coming out of All Star Weekend. The offense, I mean, they've never been an amazing offensive team, this entire season. But right now, it's been kind of like lacking a little bit. James Harden's had his up and downs. Norman Powell's also only played in one game since coming back from All Star Weekend, which doesn't help at all because he's literally their leading scorer. They do have Kawhi back, and Kawhi has been solid. He had that game against the Lakers where he dropped 30 and was really good in that one. But he's still also trying to find his rhythm. And they just haven't been as sharp, really. They haven't been as sharp. They haven't been as, amazing as we see in the first half of the season, where they were consistently in the top 6 and above the plane in the West. And now they were 9 before they won last night. Now they're back up to 8 because Sacramento lost. But they're now fighting in that play-in spot, especially with the Warriors on fire. It's going to be really tough for them to get back out of there. They obviously could. But, I mean, this team, they're a very interesting team because, again, they're not an offensive firepower, even though they do have Harden, Norman Powell, and when Kawhi plays, those are 3 guys that can go get you 25 to 30 points plus whenever they need to. But their defense is really what they've been relying on. But if their offense can't hold up to their defense, it's going to be tough. This is a very interesting team to me. I really like a lot of the pieces they have in this team, but they've been really consistent over the past couple games since coming back from All Star Weekend. They've been very inconsistent. It just hasn't been as as great as we saw the first half of the season. They're still a team that can win on any given night because they have Harden that can go off and have a big game. If Norman Powell comes back, I'm sure a lot of these errors get cleaned up with Norman Powell because he's a guy that could just, again, pop off and give you 25, have a 35-point game just because, and if Kawhi Leonard hopefully can build up, some reps for March so that when we get to April and playoff time, he can be closer to the Kawhi Leonard that we're used to seeing when it comes to playoff time. So, yeah, the Clippers just gotta fine-tune and find a way to get this right. They got a little bit more of an easier schedule over the next couple games, so hopefully maybe they can find some wins in there. But it's been a little, they've just been a little off since coming back from the break. Next team is the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are 6-1 since coming back from the break, and overall they're 9-2 since the Jimmy Butler acquisition. They have been looking very good recently. Their only loss since the break has been without Jimmy Butler against the Sixers, where Quentin Grimes shot 44 on them. But since then, it's just been kind of good, smooth sailing for this Golden State team. Defensively, they've just been super locked in. I mean, only had 2 games where allowed over 110 points. And one of them was to the Magic randomly, but that's when Steph dropped 56, so it was fine. But the defense has been locked in. The offense just looks so different. I've talked a lot about it since the Jimmy Butler trade, but he's just been a perfect fit over there, giving this team another guy that can, or a guy that, one, is an all-star that can go get 20 and 25 on their own, can relieve a lot of pressure off of Steph Curry, and that's why Steph Curry has just been on absolute fire since Jimmy's come through. And just putting pressure on the rim, being a guy that can get to the free throw line, matching the intensity of a guy like Draymond Green. He's just been such a great piece to this team. And they just look rejuvenated, honestly. Like, it looks like an extra fire has been lit into the Warriors team since Jimmy Butler's come around. They have a lot more fight, a lot more energetic, a lot less, turnovers and weird plays, a lot more everybody stepping up. Even guys like Brandon Podziemski's playing some of the best basketball of the season. Moses Moody has been starting and playing very well. Quinn Post, they found him as a guy that now is a rotational piece and has taken minutes from Trish Jackson-Davis and Kevon Looney because he's just been such a perfect fit into this offense. And everything just looks, Gary Payton, even the last couple games, has looked pretty solid. Like, everything just looks like it's clicking for the Warriors right now. And they're another team similar to the Lakers and them where it's like, if this team has a really good month to March, which I believe, because they have an easy schedule, they're going to have a really good month to March. This is not a team you want to face right now. not a team you want to face. With a Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler playing, with the team playing like this, with their history, like they are very impressive right now. And I'm very interested to see how this month goes, so we can see, how high they can climb up and how actually good this team can be in terms of playoff success. The final team we're going to talk about is the Orlando Magic. The Magic are 2-5 since coming back from All-Star break, and even since the turn of the calendar year, since January 1st, they are 9-19. They have fallen from being a consistent top 4 team in the East to now being stuck in the 7-8 play-in. It's been a big struggle. They're currently on a 4-game losing streak. Since coming back from the break, they beat the Hawks. Then they had a tough loss to the Grizzlies where John Morant went off in the fourth. Beat the Wizards, and their last 4 games lost by 40 on national TV to the Cavs. Lost to Golden State where they had a lead for a lot of the game until Steph Curry decided to say no and drop 56. Then they just suffered back-to-back losses to Toronto at home. First game where Franz Wagner missed a layup to tie the game. And then the last game where Jacoby Walter hits an insane three-pointer, and they don't get their way on the final possession, and they end up losing back-to-back. That's 3 games in a row that were like, they were in it, and they had a lead at one point. It looked like they could do it, and they lose those games. And it's been a real struggle for Orlando, which also sucks because Paolo and Franz are back, and those two have been having really good games. Paolo, the last couple games, the Warrior game, he dropped 41. That last Raptor game, he was going off. He had 22 in the fourth quarter. He was hitting so many crazy big shots, and it just didn't matter. Franz has been solid. We just got the news that Jalen Suggs is going to be out for the rest of the year, which is a huge hit to this team. And it's really just, we already know what they're going to do. The defensive mindset that they have, it's still been there, but it's just they have really nothing offensively. Honestly, it's just really they have nothing. Their entire offense is give Paul the ball, give Franz the ball, and let them do something. They just don't have any trusted guys on the perimeter. Their leading 3-point shooter is Corey Joseph, who I don't know if he's not even really a rotational player. He started the last game because Cole Anthony missed it, but he's not even really a rotational player anymore. KCP, a guy that they paid a lot of money to bring in to help this problem, has having one of the worst years in his career shooting the 3-ball. Other guys like Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, are just guys where Wendell Carter, John Isaac are just guys that other teams are going to let shoot because it's like, okay, like the chances of you having a big 6-7 3-pointer made game are very slim. So go ahead. Y'all can just shoot however many shots you want. As long as we stop Paolo and Franz from dropping 40 on us, we're fine. And that's just been the formula. They just don't have any offensive spacing, which really sucks because I really like this Magic team. I really like the culture and the things that they're doing over here. In the first half of the season, they're one of my favorite teams. I was like, man, even without Paolo and Franz, they're still winning games. They're still beating teams, and they just, had this great culture about them. And recently, it's just not been great. So I really hope that they go in the offseason and the Orlando Magic front office sees this and it's like, all right, we got to get another guy. We got to get some guys that can actually hit a perimeter shot and guys that can take a lot of pressure off of Paolo and Franz. Because right now, it's really tough to watch this team, man. It really is. It's tough for them to even get to 100 points, especially in today's NBA where teams get 100 points through 3 quarters. It's been tough for them to even get 110, 105. Like, it's been really rough to watch this Magic team right now, man. It really sucks. I just hope they can maybe find something in this last month and a half-ish in March and April that can get them back into the playoff mix. But right now, it's been a real struggle. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, doing all stuff like that. Once again, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so every subscription and all that stuff would be really, really appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.